Good morning, children. Welcome to today's class. How are you all? I hope all are safe and healthy. So when coming to our class for today, so we are going to discuss about the different types of cells in human beings, and not only the human beings, different types of cells in plants and animals also. So before going to discuss about the types of cells, here we have to first once we will remember the last class, children. So in last class we discussed about the discovery of nucleus, the significant observation by the Robert Brown. So here you can see, children, so he is Robert Brown, who have made a significant contribution to our understanding of cells. Among different parts of the cell, the nucleus is the most well-known part. Actually, nucleus is the most well-known part. So he is only the person who saw the nucleus in the first elliptical cells in 18th century. The credit for observing the nucleus in different kinds of cells and reorganizing that it was an integral part of the all cells goes to Robert Brown only. So finally, the Robert Brown was the first scientist who discovered the nucleus in the cells of different structures of the human beings, not only human beings, in living organisms. So he noted that similar structures were present in other cells as well as. So Brown claimed that this structure was an integral part of the cell and it is called as the nucleus. So whatever the part we can see here in the picture 6, figure number 6, you can see, children. So here we have the plant cell actually. So in the plant cell, here we have observed 4 parts in that. So in that first one is the cytoplasm, and next one stomata, third one is cell wall, and the fourth one is the nucleus. So nucleus is the center part of each and every cell of this one. So this is what Robert Brown saw when he observed the nucleus for the first time actually. So for the first time, what the Robert Brown saw when he observed the nucleus of the plant cell, that is the figure here we have. And after that, here we have an activity to know about to observe the nucleus in the onion peel cells also. So if you observe the onion cells before the activity also, we have same activity. If you do the activity same thing, you can able to observe, children, the plant cells, the onion cells like this. In the figure you can see, this is the onion peel cell. If you observe this one by using the microscope, we can able to understand the different the parts of the onion peel cell. So in the onion peel cell, here we have the blue color dots, children. So those blue color dots are nothing but the nucleus actually, and the middle part of each one structure is called as the cytoplasm, that is the heterogeneous part actually. And the surrounding lines, what are the surrounding lines we can observe in the figure, those will be called as the cell walls. Those are the cell walls. So these are the 3 important parts of any cell. So these are the 3 major parts will be exist in each and every cell of any living organism. So not only onion peel cell, here we have to observe our cheeks also. In our cheek cells also we can able to observe. So these are the cheek cells of the human beings actually. So here also we can able to observe here. So here we have, again, if you take one structure, here we can able to observe the middle part of the structure will be nucleus, and as surrounding the nucleus, here we have some heterogeneous liquid will be there, that is the cytoplasm. And third one, the surrounding wall should be called as the cell membranes. So actually in the onion peel, that surrounding wall we are calling it as a cell wall, but in the human cheek cells, here we can call this one as the cell membranes, that is the cell membranes. So this gives a shape to the cell actually. So these cell membranes will give the shape to the cell, and selectivity allows substances to pass through it in or out of the cell also. On the other hand, in the cells of the onion peel, the outer covering is clearer than in cheek cells. So it is because there is another layer present over all the cell membranes that should be called as the, this is known as a cell wall, children. This gives a rigidity to the cell actually. So here finally here we have the cell membranes or cell wall. So in both the cells you can find a dense round body called the nucleus. So in the middle of the structure we can call the part will be called as nucleus. So in cheeks as the nucleus is present more or less at the center of the cell. So whereas in onion cells it is not in the center. So if you observe the human cheek cells, the nucleus will be there in center, but actually in onion peels cell structure, the nucleus is not in center actually. So that is the nucleus, children, the jelly like substance between the nucleus and the cell membrane. So whatever the remaining part in between surrounding the nucleus, that jelly part will be called as a cytoplasm. It is a heterogeneous material actually. It contains membranes bound structures called cell organoids, so as well as more complex chemicals. So cell organelles help us to carry out several functions within the cell, and you will study this about this one in next classes. So this is about the cell structure. In the cell structure mainly here we have three major parts. Those three major parts will be, first one is the nucleus, and second one is the cytoplasm, and third one cell membranes or cell wall. These are the three major parts of any cell structure. So the structural and functional units of the living body. So cell is, finally we can call this cell is considered to be as the structural and functional units of the living body. The structural and functional units of a living body. So that is the initial observation of the cell. So next we are going to know about the diversity in cells. So diversity in cells. So diversity means, here you see, children, there are some millions of living organisms in the nature. They have different shapes, they are in different sizes. When if you observe the small birds, small animals, not only small animals and birds, if you observe some virus, bacteria, these are also living organism only. So from there onwards we have the very very big animals, human beings, and if you observe all these, they are different in sizes, so shapes, and the number of cells also they contains. So to know more about this, let us observe some more cells also. So if you observe some amoeba, paramecium, next Chlamydomonas, next, so these all will be the some different kinds of microorganisms. So these all are having the only one cell. So these all microorganisms have only one cell. So because of this reason they will be called as the single or unicellular organisms. So here you have you can see, children, unicellular organisms. So here you see amoeba, next Chlamydomonas, next here we have some other structures also. These all will be called as the unicellular organisms. Why? Because they have only one cell in their organs. So this is the only one cell have the capability to perform all the functions, all their life process, means like obtaining food, respiration, excretion, and growth and reproduction. Everything should be completed, everything should be done by only one cell. So that's why these organisms will be called as the unicellular organisms. And next here we are going to know about the plant cell. So here we have to observe one plant cell, children. So this is one plant cell. See in this figure, observing the cells in a leaf. Here we have to take one piece of grass leaf, grass or any plant you can take, children. So take a piece of grass leaf or one side, put a drop of water and cover it with a cover slip and observe it under the microscope. So your observation will be same as like this picture. figure number 11 you can see, children. So observe the given diagram of the sections of the stem of spinach or Tridux. Tridux means some any flower plant you can take. So note the different types of cells that you observe in the section. So if you observe this figure, here we have to observe the 4 different kinds of cells will be there in this section. Okay, so what are those 4 types of sections in the plant cell? Here we will know. So first, here we have A, B, C, D, 4 types of cells here we have. So first, group A cells. So group A will be nothing but the outer layer, outer part of this cell, outer part of the plant cell. If you observe this outer part, they may give the shape to the stem as well as the protection also. So for the stem, it will give the actual structure, and not only the actual structure, it will give some protection also. Okay, and next, when coming to the B part, so part B cells will give, actually this major portion of stem is made up of group B cells only. So you can observe in the figure, children. So major portion of the stem is made up of group B cells. In a green stem, this portion has special cells that carry out photosynthesis also. So these group B cells majorly will help to the plant to do the photosynthesis. We already know photosynthesis is a process of making food by the plant with the help of sunlight and water. So these green color part cells will plays the major role in the photosynthesis section. Okay, next one, coming to the part C. So group C consists of cells that join together to form a long structures that conduct food and water in the plant body. So in the plant body, the total functions of about the food and water will be done by the group C cells only. And next, when coming to the group D, so here the group D will be in the center of the stem only. So group D cells are present in the center of a young stem and form a halo structure in the mature stem. So this is the halo structure, children, means should be completely empty part. So thus, in transverse section of Tridux or spinach stem, you can see different shapes of cells in one organism only. So think why such stem contains different shapes of cells in it. So why different plants and different animals, they have different structures, different shapes of cells also. So why? Because according to their living habits and their functions, whatever their life functions, according to those all, each and every living organism have different cells and they have different sizes and structures also. So after this, we have to go for the different cells in the human beings also, children. So those we can continue in the next class. So whoever have the books with you, those all should read the lesson properly, and again and you can read this lesson 1 or 2 times and get to understand, children. And we will continue in the next class about the different types of structures in the human body. Thank you.